All right, yeah, let's watch it, and then I'll give my commentary as it goes. Oh, that's too loud. That's too loud. Is this better? Maybe can go up a bit.
It's stopped.
355. Wow, for missed quad, that's really good. -5 over your 4 flat. Nice. Yeah, here it is. Most of the early stages were done by easy games. I did find a... Oh, whoops, that's ahead. I did find a smaller time save here. But it was basically just like this, basically just the RTA strat with a slight modification. In this game, if you... It's really weird. Sometimes you can jump over enemies and you don't... Normally you're supposed to bounce on them and there's like a little animation for it. And sometimes it doesn't happen. I think the reason why might be because like sometimes the enemies are like in a part of their animation where like their hitbox is really short. And so you kind of magnet to the ground immediately. Other times you can get that to happen if you just hit the side of their hitbox, and that's what you do here. In RTA, you like try to time your jump at a pretty specific part of this Chaminon's animation, and so you'd get the bounceless that way, but the TAS just jumps on the side a little bit faster. And then left side is pretty standard for the TAS. The RTA run will go on the side. This is all pretty standard so far. 8 nice skips though. Strat is brutal but good. That's really good. Yeah, 8 night skips in a day sounds fantastic. That's a really good idea there that you're trying. Again, this level doesn't have that much going on in it. I can't really think of anything particularly interesting that the TAS would do here. It's gonna jam out to the auto-scroller. Such a weird level. It's got a weird color palette, doesn't it? Oh yeah, no, wait. This is not new, but you're supposed to double jump over this. As you can see, there's like the double arrow indicating. But there is a frame-perfect window, typically, to just do a single jump. The game expects you to not bash into either this rhino right here or the branch up top. This thing right here. This and this are like hitboxes that you gotta go through. And you do that with a double jump. You get over that branch with a double jump. But single jump. And we're at TAS. And again, obviously the TAS hitting the framer here. That saves like 3 seconds over going down. Again, hitting the framer as usual. There is a bit of very small difference later between what the TAS does and the standard. Well, I call it standard, but it's the RTA run would do. Oh wait. Oh, I always missed it. There's a roll here. I didn't realize. Huh. I wonder what that does. That was all easy games. This is a small time saver I implemented, just a forward jump instead of the neutral jump that the old TAS does. And this is like the one difference in this section that you can jump straight from this nest to the rhino's head with like good speed, but it's really tight because you don't have much space on that nest to build up speed. So it tends to be much easier to just fall down and do a small jump onto that rhino's head. But you can save a few frames if you gotta really jump like that. Thrown around by monkeys because I don't know. It's the court of Lion King, and I guess Guess you gotta be celebrated as the new future king or something. His any kills look sick. Interesting thing about the stage, you see those bones coming out of the ground every once in a while. They actually advance the RNG. So if you want to avoid RNG rolls, you can do a jump early to avoid those bones flying out of the ground. That's one way you can like try to adjust for patterns in this level. Oh yeah, I haven't really talked about left plus right in this game. Left plus right actually does something useful in this game. It basically, like, if you're jumping in a direction and then holding left plus right, or quickly, you can get the same effect by also alternating left and right every frame. But basically, normally if you turn around by at least 2 frames, you kill all your speed. So like, you turn around, but you start moving at half your typical max speed. And that applies even if you're like turn around and then turn back to the right in this case. But if you press left plus right, you can essentially hover in the air and conserve all your speed like that. That's how the TAS can get this this jump right here. You basically do need this hover to be able to clear this section. Same bus per spine. That's a good point. Yeah, what's up, Dead Angel? Thank you for GL. I mean, I'm not running anything at the moment, but there's a really cool dodge here. That's really hard to do. That's really precise. On that vulture down there. There's also a really sneaky turnaround here. To just manipulate this vulture into not hitting you. And then these hyenas at the end are all standard. Again, basically all of this level was easy games. And this next level was all easy games too. Well, I just love the idea of going down to 1 HP right away and then just dancing around. Power Pack and Famicom's framerate is the same. I would think so, because NES framerate is the same as the Famicom's. It should always... it should be 60.0 and 8 in both cases. Power Pack is a flash card. Think of an R4 for a Nintendo DS, Cobra. Something you might be more familiar with. Same concept, but for an NES. An Everdrive is also a kind of flash card. Tends to be more popular these days than a Power Pack. Flash cards for old consoles tend to be accurate. Unlike stuff for newer consoles. So we can use them for leaderboards and stuff. Oh yeah, aren't R4s illegal in Germany? That's... I keep forgetting. Yo, thank you, Sokola. Welcome. Alright, same as Exile. There's a lot of clips that you do. These are all frame perfect. The task clears this level really quickly. These last 2 clips at the end are the only ones that you actually would go for an RTA run. Although not with the... Not with left plus right, which speeds up all of these setups, basically. Exile is just nuts in a TAS. Again, those clips are all frame perfect. Yeah, for weird reasons. Yeah, I don't know. It's always funny, like the kinds of like laws that each individual nation has, which like makes one thing completely have a completely different like legal status and from one country to the other. I know. I think flashcards have also. Oh, welcome back, Easy Games, by the way. Yeah, I decided to do it today. After all, I couldn't wait. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I think flashcards of any kind are illegal in Japan as well. Laws are made to be broken. That depends. There's some laws that, you know, actually most laws I'd be respectful of. Oh yeah, anything to say here? The spot manip is actually really specific. I believe you might need left plus right to do it. Nothing too notable here so far. The RNG... Oh! No. Here's the thing. I think I just lowered the audio somehow. Is this better? Okay. So, notice on these logs. Here it is. You see this wiggle? This, like, just quick turnaround. I'll play back at full speed. You see this wiggle? That actually manipulates the geysers in level 8. Well, not just that. Obviously, it's a TAS and I could, like, change stuff and just check the outcomes later. But essentially, the bugs down here, when the bugs are loaded in the game's memory, they advance the RNG, I think, every frame. And so by doing that wiggle, I can keep them loaded for longer and basically get an extra RNG roll. And then I couple that with something in Destiny later to get the RNG seed I wanted. Oh, that one is a special case. Interesting. I wonder if it was like a pressure from Nintendo at the time, because the Nintendo DS was a console that during its lifespan was plagued with piracy. So like a lot of people would not buy games. They'd get an R4 and they just download ROMs off the internet. I knew a lot of people of my age who grew up with a Nintendo DS and had an R4 and just got ROMs online instead of buying the actual games. So like I can totally see it. Just Germany going like, you know what? You're not gonna do that. Flashcards, I think, is a koala. I think flashcards like the Everdrive are illegal in Japan. And the shape is pretty standard, aside from like landing on the side of the hitbox to not bounce. Here in Japan, video rentals have movies, TV series, movie CDs, and they also sell empty CDs and DVDs right at the cashier. Oh, interesting. Oh, no, there is a very interesting thing of note here. So it turns out, if you... After dealing the final blow to this ape, if you jump right away and grab this sledge, it ends up causing 0 frames of lag throughout this entire cutscene. Normally, what we do in real time would be to roll off and fall all the way down, and that would make the camera take a much longer time to pan up, which would reduce lag a lot compared to just staying up there. But it wouldn't completely eliminate it. But Easy Game for some reason like found that like you can just like grab the ledge, and I think Simba just like falls from this ledge at some point and just ends up causing 0 frames of lag for whatever reason. I wonder if that's something I can actually implement in RTA, but like that was a really cool find. 11 frames of lag. Yeah, that's what not grabbing the ledge. I think that's not about right for like the amount of lag frames that I'd get by rolling off. Anyway, the slash here on the cheetah for some reason doesn't lose time, I think. Because I tried not doing it and I'd get the same result. I think there's some situation where slashing in midair doesn't lose time. It's something I don't completely understand. But one thing this slash does is change the RNG. Because it makes the cheetah, like, attack differently or something. I know it changes the scene. Are the M's the exact numbers? I see, yeah. Yeah, I remember you telling me the number. But yeah, I think it is around 11. The amount of lag frames that you get with the roll strat that we use in RTA. So this strat here, it's very subtle. But I actually had to delay this throw by, I think, 11 frames. So there's a bit of a time loss here. But the reason why was because the lane distro actually rolls the RNG more times. And I tried a lot of combinations between just like different wiggles in Hakuna Matata plus like different delays here. And I think it's possible there might be slightly better than what I ended up getting. But this was the best I could find. Just like losing 11 frames here to get the best RNG I want in Be Prepared. And I'll explain what the best RNG is later, but that's just sort of what I had to do. I lost many days looking, because it was all done basically just by brute forcing different like combination of things and then getting to Be Prepared and like seeing what RNG I'd get. Because like the RNG rolling gets very complex, even though it doesn't advance every frame or anything. Like you get the cheetahs, and depending on the current RNG seed, they might swipe once or they might swipe twice, and that will advance the RNG different times. So like trying to get some kind of algorithm to like map out exactly all the different ways different seeds can result in different stuff from like as far back as Hakuna is like, it was like way too complex, and it was easier to just like brute force. But that was the best I found. And then most of this level was made by Easy Games. This is a strat I actually found in real time. You kill this cheetah here at the bottom, and it makes it so that when you roar this guy up here, you can actually grab it. Because normally if you just skip this cheetah, which was what for the longest time people did, they just skip that cheetah, and then you get up here, and if you try to roar, it doesn't work because the roar ends up stunning the cheetah on the bottom. So people would like just bait the cheetah into attacking, and then there would be RNG in this as to how many times it attacked. And you just lose time and be sad most of the time. Quite a pain for a TAS. It's a good thing that this is faster for a TAS as well. It's a very good thing. For Nintendo spend a lot being... Yeah, wouldn't be surprised, for sure. Pre-recorded. It is indeed pre-recorded, Giblet. This is a pre-recorded run. What's up, Camilla? Welcome in. And then... Oh yeah, this is double frame perfect. Also, quote-unquote sub-pixel dependent, let's call it. It's not sub-pixel. It's just Simba moves at like 4 pixels per frame. And so this jump works on less than 4 pixels. I think it's 2 pixels. So like, not all your current pixel alignments, not all possible pixel alignments make this jump possible. And then you need a frame perfect slash to grab the swing. I think this saves like 1/3 of a second, maybe more. That climb was a little tough to optimize. Easy Game did most of this, and then I just like went through and polished up a couple things really from this level.
You must take your place in the circle of life.
Oh, that I just... I just accidentally pressed my foot pedal. I'm sorry. It's bound to the number 3 key. Because that's what I use for resetting. Okay, here we go. Alright, this is Be Prepared. So, this is the huge skip that was found since Tampa's TAS in 2014. You can essentially bait this cheetah here to the left side. And basically, as long as you slash it while it's panting, you can essentially grab its dead corpse as it's flying out and clip through. Skips. It saves like a minute. This level is really long and tedious, normally. This was all done by Easy Games. What I did was just like go through this level with his inputs and and just like make sure I got the RNG. So best RNG is you want the cheetah to swap once so that you can just like immediately attack and grab. And then here, this was something that was found I think in 2020. If you just like pause on this ledge for a bit, I think you need 65 frames to be sure but much less usually. You just pause on this ledge and then go right away. What that does is it loads in just the rightmost geyser at first, and it has a cooldown to it. So you let it deplete, and then as soon as that cooldown is depleted, you run to the left side. And so it makes this rightmost geyser erupt first, and then all the other cooldowns for the other geysers, they get loaded in, but they're on hold. And then as soon as that geyser finishes erupting, all 4 geysers start counting down at the same time, which is different from what you'd get normally, because normally you just like load everything in at once, and then they'd go in a nice, neat order, like from the rightmost one to the second from the right, to the third from the right, to the fourth to the right, and then it cycles in a nice order. But by making all the cooldowns start at once, you can have a chance at this leftmost one erupting second. And that's important because the trigger to end this stage is for this leftmost geyser to erupt 5 times. And so basically by getting this to erupt second, they start going in order from right to left at this point. And essentially this geyser, this leftmost geyser, ends up erupting its final time before the 2 geysers in the middle do. The one on the right will get its 5th eruption before the leftmost one, because we had that first eruption as soon as we just fell down from after the clip. But this leftmost one will erupt before the 2 in the middle, and essentially we save 2 cycles with it. Now, because the cooldowns are initiated with RNG, that's why I had to do everything I had to do in Hakuna and in Destiny, because I just had to like find the right seed that gave us the right cooldown there to both get, like, we needed the seed that both gave us the single swipe cheetah plus the leftmost geyser erupting second. There's technically a little bit more RNG to be optimized, because ideally you'd have the two shortest possible cooldowns on both the rightmost geyser and the leftmost one. The ones we ended up getting were 2 pretty short ones, but not the 2 possible shortest. Still though, this is pretty good luck, essentially, for what is possible. How long the leftmost geyser takes to erupt at first? Yeah, because the cooldowns, they essentially get reinitialized. So normally, it's really hard to... It's a lot more apparent if you're watching Akitero's Lua that he made that displays all the cooldowns in real time. But essentially, normally the normal flow of it is that all 4 cooldowns get initialized, right? And as soon as a geyser finishes erupting, you okay, scrap that. Essentially, once a geyser has its cooldown, once a geyser is erupting, basically all the other cooldowns are counting down at the same time. But since one geyser hits 0 before the other ones, it erupts first. But the other geysers have already hit 0. So they're just waiting for the previous geyser to finish erupting so that they can erupt. And so once that geyser finishes erupting, then it's time for the next geyser, which has its cooldown already at 0. While the geyser that has just finished erupting has its cooldown reinitialized, and it starts counting down. So basically all the geysers, as they're going through the sequence, they're already at 0 in their cooldown, and there's no RNG. They're all really consistent and how should I put it? They're all in a very consistent flow, essentially. But once you do this trick here at the start, after this first geyser, right here, now the cooldowns for these 3 geysers have not been initialized yet, for whatever reason. So this geyser is erupting, but these 3 geysers have spawned, but haven't quite had their cooldowns assigned. Once the geyser finishes erupting, then all the cooldowns get picked and assigned, but they have to go through those, like, how many frames is it? I don't know, like about 50 to 65 frames, just about. I think it's 3.2 in hex, which is, yeah, 50 frames exactly. 50 to 65 frames that you have to wait for one of the geysers to actually hit 0 and finally erupt. That's just why that cooldown takes a lot longer. Again, it's a lot easier to visualize if you're using Akiteru's Lua, which shows all the entities that are loaded and the geysers cooldowns. Alright, Return was made, honestly, for the most part, still by Easy Games. So I did a few rooms here. This was all Easy Games. There's an interesting glitch that is never used in RTA runs at the moment. You can... How did I... Okay. So basically, there's like a frame perfect window. If you slash right before hitting the ground, you get what's called ISG. If you know Ocarina of Time speedrunning, you know that there's a glitch in that game that's called the Infinite Sword glitch. And you can essentially, like, even if you're not attacking, your sword's hitbox is still actively out and always hitting. It's kind of the same thing with CV1's, Castlevania 1's crit mechanic too. If you get hit on the same frame you hit an enemy, your whip just gets glitched and it's always active for a whole bunch of time. Here, if you slash on the perfect frame, as you land, Simba's slash hitbox will still be active. So right now the slash hitbox has not been removed, and it's still hitting Desaina here. I believe it lasts until the next time you slash, or until the next time you land from a jump. I don't remember. Maybe both things. These are also like glitch remote kills. These are used in the RTA runs. Essentially, you have a 4-frame window as you're landing on an enemy to cancel a pounce, and as long as you do certain actions like moving around or doing some slashes, you continuously deal damage while moving, like while being away from them, which is really neat. This room is one I did. Had just a bit of an idea to punch them up and do a glitch kill there. It is worth noting that there's there's like two different variants of this glitch kill. There's one where the next time you jump, you get what's called the invisible ceiling glitch, which actually you get here. Basically, if you pay attention, there's a bit of a sound that plays now next time Simba jumps here. If you hear that, it's like a weird... I don't even know how to describe that sound, but it's basically the sound that you'd get while pouncing on an enemy. Got it there too. That's invisible sitting. It just like pushes you down towards the peak of your jump. And then there's another variant that I think happens when you initiate the glitch kill while still being in midair. And the best way to do that is by jumping on an enemy on the side of their hitbox. You don't have to do a slash to cancel the pounce at that point. That's a pounce that just like kind of cancels on its own. But if you do that, you can see that like Simba starts pouncing in midair and then the pounce gets cancelled. And I think at that point, yeah, you get it here actually, because you can hear the sound of this quote unquote invisible ceiling happening immediately. It's really just the sound of the pounce. But if you go frame by frame, as you can see, like Simba starts the pounce, but then it gets cancelled in midair. I think that's what causes the invisible ceiling less variant. This final room is another one I did. Took me... I don't remember how long, maybe an hour or more to find... Oh, dude, I didn't... Man, I meant to interrupt it as a different frame so that Simba would look like spooked. I meant to uncrouch and have it freeze frame on this frame. Must have missed it. Oh well. I guess I can always replace the input file. But yeah, I believe this saved 11 frames over Tampa. Maybe more. Pretty complex room. And it was really just a slight alteration that started from not entering this room with invisible ceiling glitch active, which allowed me to jump while facing left here, instead of having to suffer the turnaround. So I guess that's that. The same versus Return is like one of the more complex levels in the run. I found out while making the stats that there's a little bit of RNG to it too. The hyenas don't always do the same things. But yeah, Pride Rock here is actually pretty straightforward for the most part. The TAS always goes for these invisible ceiling. Well, actually not always, but like here on Scar 1 it ends up being faster to go for the version of the glitch kills that don't give you an invisible ceiling. It's just a little bit faster. And then here, there's more mines that get avoided. So basically, throughout this level, there's like certain areas we think that if stepped through, they make lightning bolts appear. And they can block your path, but worse, they can also like cause lag frames. So it actually turns out it's faster to like do extra jumps in certain spots to avoid lightnings. And this is a pretty ridiculous thing that the TAS is able to do. This is, I think, quadruple frame perfect. I think the jump is frame perfect, and then all three of the slashes are also frame perfect. And you can perform a light skip here. Really ridiculous. There's a very interesting curiosity too about these two hyenas. Normally it is faster to jump in between these two hyenas and then do an extra jump, because slashing in midair loses frames. So even if you have to do an extra jump, a jump in this game loses 1 frame, but the slash in midair loses more. So I actually thought it would be faster to just like do that, but it turns out that after doing this this slash skip here, you have the invisible slash glitch active, which means that if you try to jump in between these two hyenas, you hit one of them and it causes lag. It's pretty funny. So yeah, it actually is faster to just jump slash here. Yeah, find it very, very amusing. Then more kills on Scar 2. We actually did... This was Easy Game's idea. We did the version of the glitch kill for the last hit that does give you the invisible ceiling, just because it allows you to be much further right starting this. And so you can start like running forward a lot sooner. Because this is a Scar skip. Oh yeah, I haven't explained Scar skips at all. Scar skips at all. But they're a pretty old and standard things in this game's run. Essentially, if you kill Scar with a glitch kill while he's off screen, you skip his sort of death animations, where he's just kind of running away. And yeah, for Scar 1, there really wasn't much of an optimization to this, but for Scar 2, you want to be as far right as possible, because you basically you're not bottlenecked. You basically save time for like as much ground as you can catch up before the camera actually like unlocks and allows you to go through. There's some mines being avoided here, some lightning bolts not being spawned. Actually, this jump slash right here, it's a small jump into a slash, into a well-timed slash. It avoids a lightning bolt, which avoids lag. And then this jump right here also avoids a lightning bolt. Very subtle optimization here. So you want to turn around in midair instead of on the ground, because if you decide to turn around the ground, you have to suffer through some animation frames, while turning around in midair is immediate. Turns out it's optimal here to do a jump slash. So this jump right here is literally the frame before you trigger a mine that causes a lightning bolt to fall down on the platform. So this is the latest possible jump you can do, and this is also the highest possible jump you can do. If you didn't do this jump slash, you'd turn around in midair, jump forward, and then you wouldn't have as much ground here to kind of build up speed. And so the best speed you could do on this jump, I think, would be one increment away from Simba's max speed. You get like 960 subpixels per frame compared to 1024. So what you can do is do a jump slash to gain just a little bit more ground of this jump. And so you can turn around and get max speed. Saves like 3 frames over not slashing. Final climb here. You just spawn Scar as quickly as possible. And then the TAS does these ridiculous glitch kills. It actually ends up being tighter and tighter to do glitch kills on the various Scar phases. This is one spot where the RTA run doesn't do the glitch kills, but that's just kind of it, and that's the end of the run. You just glitch kill Scar 4 times and then throw him off the cliff. That's the TAS. That clocked in at an 1123.012, which is the old TAS was at 1251, so that is a minute 28, just about, of an improvement. And that is over 6 seconds faster than the current Genesis TAS. So I think that pretty much confirms. I don't. Oh, actually, I don't know. There might be about 6 seconds of time save in the Genesis TAS, because. Oh well, no, it does do 1 geyser skip. I think it's possible to do 2 on Genesis as well, so there might be like 5 seconds of time save there too. So maybe Genesis and SNES are about as fast on a theoretical level. That's pretty interesting. Current Genesis time is 11:29. Well, as I said, this is 11:23. But I think there's some time save in the current Genesis time. Not much. Not nearly even remotely as much as these NES TAS used to have, but that's it. This was a really fun project to work on. It's very, very nice to see an updated TAS of the SNES version. And as I always, as I also said in the submission notes, and as I always say about TASing, I feel like TASing a run that I run in real time is a very good way to catch optimizations that otherwise wouldn't. It's a really good way to understand optimizations at a better level. Because, like, when you're there on the sort of piano roller kind of interface and, like, having to insert inputs manually, I guess you're kind of forced to try and think about, like, what the literal best frame-perfect way to do every single action is. And sometimes you just, like, find optimizations in, like, ways you wouldn't even think about. Like, I don't know. As an example, I always think of this thing in Donkey Kong Country 2, where, like, in one of the bonuses in 102, there's just, like, randomly a spot in the floor that is just, like, a few pixels higher than other spots, and so if you jump from there, you save a few frames. That's the kind of stuff that, like, I just would never ever pick up on in an RTA run. There's just, like, no way to get feedback on it, but in a TAS you get that feedback. And yeah, this was the same here. I'm definitely, I mean, the day I return to this game, I'm definitely excited to implement some of the things I learned from this. But yeah, I guess that's all I have to say about this. The run has been submitted to TAS videos. We still have to write a detailed stage-by-stage breakdown about it, but yeah, we'll work on it, and I would imagine there shouldn't be much of a problem in it being approved.